Welcome to Rewild Your Business. I'm your host, Jill Mokes. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. And if you are new here, welcome. I think you're going to love it. And I'm so happy to have you here, part of our little community. So we are now on to episode 3 of our special little mini series, our little podcast within a podcast called The Natural Order of Things. So in episode 211, we covered part 1, which was inner knowing. So that was all around your vision and your mindset that really is that absolute infrastructure of what's going to be built above it. In episode 212 last week, we talked about truest expression. So this is your brand. This is the real foundation of your whole business. It's who you are. It's what you stand for. It's why it matters. So if you haven't listened to those 2 episodes yet, I would highly recommend you go back and binge those 2, because this episode is all about soul work. This is where we're going to go into the offers that you create and that you put into the world. Okay, let's dive into the episode. Welcome to Rewild Your Business, the podcast for women doing the work their soul intended. I'm Jill Mokes. I'm an international business coach, and I'm a guide for women doing the work that matters. Rewilding your business means cutting away what doesn't belong to allow what does to thrive, finding simplicity in your work. And it's about bringing the whole of who you are to the table, whether you're building something new or finding your way back to what really matters to you. I'm so glad you're here. So when you look at what you're currently offering in your business, so that might be programs, services, it might be a one-to-one work, it might be any of the containers you've built, maybe it's a membership, maybe it's workshops, whatever it is, I want you to ask yourself something and be really bloody honest about the answer, right? Were you called to create these offers? In other words, did those offers that you've put together, that you are offering to the world, did they come from something really deep and true inside of you? From a really genuine sense of who you're here to serve and what they need the most? Or did you look at what was already out there, see what seemed to be working for other people, and then just use that as your blueprint? No shame if you are putting your hand up for that second one, because it's what almost everyone does. I did for way longer than I probably want to share. But it's also the reason that so many soul-led women are sitting with offers inside their businesses that, yeah, they make sense on the kind of whole landscape of online business or business in general, but they don't feel like they're really genuinely their special source, their gift, the offer that only they could create. So in this episode, we're going to think about what could happen for you when you stop asking, what should I offer? And start really thinking about, what am I being called to create? Okay? This layer 3, soul work, your offers. This is really where the inner world, your mindset, your vision, who you are, what matters to you, your values, your story, it's really where all of that inner world meets the outer one for the first time. It's where you take everything that you've excavated about yourself, your knowing, your truth, like I say, your values, your story, and you're going to shape that into something you can place in someone's hands. And I've deliberately called this soul work because I think that's what your offer should be. Not products that you've designed to fit a market, right? Not like services that you've just kind of packaged the way other people do it because it seems sensible, because you think it's what you have to do to be able to sell something. I'm talking about soul work, the gifts you were called to create for the people that you're being called to serve. So, where are we going to begin with this? Well, first of all, I want to call out the fact that most offer creation, and I've worked with a lot of clients creating a lot of offers. So I think I can really talk about this with some genuine authority around what makes a great offer. And most offer creation starts in the wrong place. It starts with the market, what's already out there. Most people will start by looking at what seems to be working for other people in their space. So you're looking around, you're absorbing it all, you're consuming all of their content so that you can get a feel for what you could do. And then what happens is you just create something that fits perfectly into that existing landscape. You feel happy with yourself. You feel glad that you've created something that's recognizable in that landscape. There's something that fits in. And it's natural that you do that because you're trying to create something that's going to make sense to the people already buying things like it in the market. So the logic is there and that feels safe. It feels very evidence-based. So in other words, if other people are selling this kind of thing and people are buying it, surely that's the validation I need and therefore I need to do the same as them. But something gets lost in that process. And if you've listened to episodes 211 and 212, you know that the only real competitive advantage you have is you. Your specific, irreplaceable way of seeing a problem, of helping someone meet a desire. The solution that only you could have arrived at, because only you have walked that unique path. Only you have your story, your lived and learned experience. Only you see the world in the exact way you see it. So when you're just using an existing landscape alone as your blueprint, you're going to produce something that at best is a competent version of something that's already there. You are entering a room, you're joining a party wearing something from M&S, and there's like 3 other women there, all wearing the exact same outfit, right? And then we wonder why we're not standing out. So I want to offer you a paradigm shift on this. I believe that our soul work, our offers that are created because we're called to create them, begin somewhere different. They begin with a question that I want you to ask yourself, and that is this. If no solution existed, if you couldn't look sideways at what anyone else was doing, what would your soul direct you to create? What would your intuition whisper to you? How would it guide you? Sit with that for a moment. If you want to, just pause this podcast, because you can come back to me. Really sit with it, because the answer that comes up for you is often going to feel at the same time obvious and pretty damn scary. The offer that comes to your mind and has you thinking, could I actually do that? That is the offer that you're here to create. Because there is one thing I know, and that is that when we really listen, when we really tune into our intuition, when we really listen to our soul messages, that's when we get an answer that is so true for us. It automatically takes into account who we are, what matters to us, our values, our story, right? Because you're doing the work yourself. You're not typing into Claude, this is my ideal client. This is what they are looking for. This is what solution would be the best way to offer them this, right? That is only ever going to bring up something generic that fits into the existing landscape. So that question of, if no solutions already existed, if there was nothing out there serving the people that you want to serve, solving the problem that you want to solve, so if you couldn't look at what anyone else was doing, what would your soul direct you to create? So the next thing I want you to think about, let's park that for a moment. Because the really, really big question, of course, to get very clear on before you can create the right offer for your ideal client is, who do you feel called to serve? So this is a key question. So not who is a sensible market, not who is the easiest to reach, right? Who are you genuinely aching to help? And this matters so much because this is what is going to infuse the offer you create with the right energy. And that right energy, it will be felt by the people that you're trying to reach. You can't fake a genuine calling to help someone. People can sense it. People will know if you have artificially come up with an ideal client profile that simply ticks the box of, I know who they are, I know where they are, I can reach them, I know they've got a budget to pay me, and it's the obvious choice for me. That's not a soul calling to help someone. You need to understand, who is it that you just love working with, that you get this feeling that's so indescribable when you work with them? Who are the people that you just know that your unique blend of lived and learned experience and your values, etc., you just know that those are going to come together so that you can serve those people at a deeper level than really anyone else could. That's what I want you to focus on here. It's a different way of thinking about who is my ideal client. And it's a way that is very much in line with that whole rewilding philosophy that I talk about. You know, let's get back to the core of who we are. And then from there, ask the question, who am I being called to serve? Because only then can you really come up with, how am I being called to serve them, right? So then once you're clear on the who, the next question isn't so much, what do I want to teach those people? Or what service do I want to offer them? It's not, what am I good at? It's, what do they actually need? Not, what do you want to offer? What do they want and need? And those are not always the same thing. I've created offers in the past because I really wanted to create that offer. I had this idea, I could visualize it. It was aesthetically beautiful. I liked the words in it. I liked the way I was positioning it. But it wasn't what my ideal clients wanted or needed. So you need to really understand. So think about it this way. Let's say, for example, that the woman that you feel called to serve is someone who you recognize where they are and what they're going through in their life at this time. And you know that you've walked that same path. So you know that on the other side of the transformation that you've been on, you're now in a place where you could so help that person go through this same entire transformation that you've been through. Really profound experience. And maybe you want to start sharing every part of the journey that you've been on, you know, the real depth of it, full complexity. You want to go deep into everything. You want to create a 12-week, very in-depth experience, right? But if the client you feel called to serve isn't ready for that whole mountain, then it's not the right offer. It's not the offer that is the one that they want and need right now. Maybe they just need the next step. Maybe they just need their hand held through the next step of what they're going through. I get the excitement of wanting to create a really in-depth experience. And if that's the kind of client who's ready for that in-depth experience, then that's what you're being called to create. Perfect. But honestly, I think what a lot of people will skip or not do enough work around is, who is my ideal client and what are they ready for right now? What do they want and need right now? What will serve them the best right now? So it's thinking about the fact that your offer is not for you. It's for the people you serve. And I see the most soul-aligned, most soul-driven offers are the ones where the two things meet. So where whatever you're feeling called to create and what your people need most, where those two things meet in the middle, that is a soul work offer. But the two parts have to be aligning. You might be thinking, well, that's all very well, Jill, but I've had loads of really good ideas for offers. How do I actually know whether this is a true soul work offer or if it's the other one that you've been talking about, the one that's I've done more from a kind of academic, here's what the market needs, here's what's been done before, so I'll just replicate that, right? How do I know the difference? Well, I want to try and describe to you what it feels like when you've got an offer right. And this is hard to do because obviously describing how something feels to someone else is always a bit hit and miss. It might not feel exactly the same for you, but I can do my best to try and explain it. Because I honestly think that so many of us creating offers settle for things that just feel okay. They feel fine. They're kind of sellable, deliverable, and we're not actually experiencing what it can feel like when an offer is just genuinely it, the one, or one of a few. A soul work offer feels generous. That's the first thing I want to say. It feels generous to your client because you've put that real care and craft into it. You've sculpted it into exactly what you know they want and need. But it also feels generous to you because you've priced it according to its value, the value that you've carefully put into it, not according to what you think someone might pay, not according to what the cheaper version of yourself decided was acceptable. That's something we do, don't we? Like the really kind of cheaper version of us, of the woman we're becoming now, the cheaper version will often say, oh, that's enough. That's enough. Charge that, that's enough. But that's misalignment. Pricing's important. We'll come on to that in a bit. And with a soul work offer, it just feels complete. It feels like there's nothing important missing from that offer. You haven't left anything out, intentionally or unintentionally. So it feels like you've really thought it through, not just what people are going to learn or experience, but how they're going to feel on the other side of it. And you haven't let yourself dodge the things that on one level should be included. You want to include them. When you've got an offer right, it just feels so complete. There's no unanswered questions in your mind. You will feel confident about delivering it. And this makes such a difference. When you've created something from your soul, from you, not what's already out there, from the essence of who you are, that work. That work lives inside you. You could literally deliver it half asleep and still give people an amazing experience. So you're just so much more confident. Whenever I talk on a stage, I always feel the most confident when I have written every word of that talk from my heart without any kind of AI intervention. It has just come from me in my voice, the actual things I really want to say, the truth. It's the whole truth, right? Then I feel so confident in delivering it. Now, if I'm maybe doing something where I haven't got much prep time, I've used AI to help me outline something, I am trying to really make it sound like my own, but actually it wasn't written by me. And that is when I am not going to feel confident delivering that. So creating from your heart, from your soul, that is the best way to feel confident in what you're doing. You're not comparing it to anyone else's version because there is no anyone else's version. The other thing is that you're going to be so excited to talk about it, like genuinely excited. We have to kind of stop yourself going on about it because you can even sense in yourself you're getting boring, right? That is a massive signal. If you're excited to talk about it, those two things, feeling confident to deliver it, and excited to talk about it. When you're excited to talk about something as well, then you're going to be really comfortable to promote it. So, no cringing, you're not apologizing, you're not like secretly hoping people won't notice the post that you put up about it. So that's what it feels like to create a soul work offer. You know your clients are going to love it. So you're not hoping they will, you know they will, because you built it specifically for them based on a genuinely true understanding of where they are and where they need to go. And more to the point, where they are right now. What do they need right now? Not what is the most enormous offer that includes every single thing they could possibly ever need in their whole life so that you get to demonstrate how amazing you are and how much you know. That's not creating from your soul. That's not creating with your ideal clients at the heart of the offer. And you will feel the difference. You really will. I just want to talk a bit more about pricing, actually, because I know this is something that so many of you struggle with. And it's also where I think there's so much conflicting advice and pretty crap advice out there as well, to be quite honest. I want to say, first of all, that pricing isn't like an easy calculation. There's not a right or wrong answer. But it's also not a market research exercise either, particularly when you are creating a soul work offer. One thing I think that a lot of women do is they come at it from this angle. They think, what is the number that feels low enough that people won't object to it? Pricing done right really needs you to listen to your intuition, because your intuition knows, 100% knows when you're underpricing. It knows when you've just shaved that number down because you're scared, because you're a people pleaser, because that old out-of-date belief that charging well is somehow not in alignment with caring deeply. Such bullshit. Really well-priced offers do you both a service, your client and yourself. When you price too low, you end up having this feeling of resentment that starts building. You get this sense that you're giving more than the exchange warrants, right? I've noticed that women who come to me and say, I'm doing all the things, Jill, but I'm just exhausted. And for what I'm making, it's just not worth it. I'm exhausted. And I've noticed that often that exhaustion actually has nothing to do with the amount of work they're doing. It's really about this energetic mismatch underneath it. This is so common with people that are underpricing. When you are being rewarded at the right level for the right amount of work, it's not exhausting like that. But I also want to say that your intuition also knows when you're overpricing. When you've inflated your price beyond what you genuinely believe the offer delivers, when it's more about your aspiration in terms of what you want to earn than the actual value of the offer, then you're going to feel that too. And that is going to really impact the way that you talk about your offer, the way you promote it. It's almost going to feel like you're going to feel a little bit of a defensiveness around it. So the right price for your offer is the price that makes you and your client both feel content. We've had this message for a long time that feeling content isn't good enough. Unless you're feeling joy, unless you're blooming 365 days of the year, then something's wrong. But actually, I think content is a great word, particularly for pricing. So if you can hit a price where you can deliver that offer with full-on generosity, because you feel like you're being genuinely met with the right level of reward in terms of the payment, and then your client can receive the offer with full openness because they feel like they've paid a fair price for what they're getting, that's the sweet spot. And I think that claiming sovereignty around your pricing means trusting in that sense. And again, it's that stopping, looking sideways at what other people are charging and using that as your only reference point. Build your price from the value that you know the work creates. And build your price from what you know about your ideal clients. Not how much can I squeeze out of them, but what do I think that they would feel is the fair price for this offer? Because the clients who don't really fit what you're trying to do, the clients who don't align with your message, with the work you're here to do with them, the clients who don't put a value on that work, they're not your ideal clients anyway. So your ideal clients are the ones that will almost have a meeting of minds with you about pricing and will see the fairness in it. So you're building your price from the inside out, from the value you know that the work creates, the care that you know you bring, the transformation that you know is possible for that client. And it's about holding that price with a genuine confidence, the confidence of that person who knows exactly what they're offering because they created it from their soul. So that is your soul work layer. That is how I want you to start thinking about your offers and thinking about that. If there's one thing you take away from this, it's did I create this offer because I feel genuinely that it was what I was called to create, to genuinely serve what my ideal clients want and need? Or did I create it by looking sideways at what someone else is doing, and then I replicated that because I thought it would logically work? So what does solid look like at this layer? Because remember, we're almost auditing. We're going through your business layer by layer. We've already done mindset and vision. We've already done brand. Now we're on offers. So when this layer of the work of your business is genuinely working, then your offers feel like the most natural expression of all that work that you've done before it, the brand work, the vision and mindset work. Your offers are recognizably yours. So someone who knows your work could look at your offer suite and see you in it immediately. They could see what your calling is, your values, your way of seeing the world. All of that is showing up in your offer suite. You've got the right number of offers. So not too many, which is almost always a sign of not trusting any single thing enough to commit to it, but not too few either. So you have maybe a couple of offers so that you're meeting your ideal clients where they are right now. And each offer has a clear purpose, a clear person it's for. It knows what stage of life or business or health that person's at. And it delivers a clear transformation. You talk about your offers easily. It's another thing that solid looks like. The language around it just comes naturally to you because you created them from your soul. You understand them completely. And selling, when we come down the line to selling, oh my goodness, everything transforms because you don't feel like you've got to convince anyone of anything. You genuinely feel like you're inviting them in because you're not trying to persuade someone into something that you're uncertain about. You're extending a genuine offer to the people it was made for. And your clients are going to feel that. They're going to feel the care and the craft that you've put into that offer. They're going to feel that it was built for them, not to be sold at them. And that feeling that a client gets of being genuinely seen and served, that is what encourages them to immerse themselves into the work they do with you. And that is what creates the results that they get. And the results that they get is what creates the testimonials, the referrals, your reputation, everything that makes downstream from here easier as we work through the different layers. Okay, I hope that this episode has given you a feel for just a shift in the way you create offers, bringing it right back to the who. What do they really want and need right now? If nothing existed, What would my soul direct me to create right now? As always with this series, there is a companion worksheet for this episode, which has got the 10 journal prompts again to help you audit this layer. So you can download that link in the show notes. So I want to leave you with this. Your offers are not just products, they're not just revenue streams. They really are the place where your inner knowing, that mindset and vision, and your truest expression, your brand, becomes something tangible. Something a person can step into and be changed by. That is no mean feat, right? That really deserves to be treated with depth and intentionality, just like every other layer of the work that we do. But the cool thing is that when you treat it with that level of depth and intentionality, you don't have to go so wide. Most businesses will never need more than 3 offers. So if you're someone that is always creating something new and never feeling all of the ways I explained earlier that it feels when you've created an offer from your soul, from your intuition, maybe that's something to think about. So it's time to just stop building from the blueprint, start building from your calling, asking yourself, what is my soul directing me to create? And then trust the answer enough to build that. All right, next week we're going into layer 4 of our 7 parts, our 7 layers. Layer 4, I'm calling worldview. And this is all about your thought leadership. Because once you have offers that are a genuine expression of your soul work, then the question becomes, are you sharing the ideas and the perspectives and the way of seeing the world that makes your work irreplaceable, that makes you a recognized authority in your thing? Are you building a body of thinking that is really recognizably yours? Because that is where visibility comes in. That's where we start. We start by having something to say, caring enough about something to want to make a stand and talk about it. Okay, so now that we are partway through this series of the natural order of things, I have 2 really special things to share with you, actually. One is that I have now released the book version of this little mini series. So if you're enjoying this and you want to jump ahead even, you can now. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. It's completely free. It's my gift to you. But it's a book that really goes deep into all of the 7 layers, walks you through the things we've been talking through up until now in these first 3 layers. So like I say, I'll pop a link to that in the show notes. The second thing I'm so excited to share with you, it's really timely for me to share it on this episode because we've been talking about soul work. We've been talking about the offers that only we could create, the offers that are created from our soul calling. And I want to share with you that on June the 15th, I'm going to be opening the doors to The Wild Way, which is my soul offer. It is a community for women who are building soul-led businesses. It's a community where we are going to follow the natural order of things framework. We're going to grow profitable, successful, spiritually alive, soul-led businesses. We're making a stand for the and. We're going to chuck away the old story that, the broke artist story, right? We don't tolerate that around here. We know that deep soul-led spiritual work is actually the work that can be incredibly profitable. And that is not a bad thing. That is a good thing. It means that important work becomes sustainable. So this community has really been created from my dream of having the community that I want to belong to. And I haven't compromised on it. We will meet at new moon every month. to set our intentions. We'll meet again 2 weeks later at full moon and we'll reflect and we'll look at what's working and what isn't working. And that 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, we're getting together on Zoom. We're holding each other accountable. We're actually doing the work to grow our soul-led businesses. We don't just talk about it. We're doing the work. We're setting intentions. We're reviewing them. We're tweaking. We're moving on again. Every month, you'll also get a fresh class recorded by me, uploaded into the membership portal. There'll be a class, a workbook, and a guided meditation, all on a particular topic. So the first topic that I'm covering for June, as soon as the doors open, the first class is called Trust the Timing. Really important for us if you are someone who really is in this for the long haul, wants to build a profitable business for long-term success, then really trusting in the timing of things is going to be so important for you. And that will be the first class that we upload. There's a community space where we can get to know each other. This isn't a cram as many people as I can get to say yes into it kind of community at all. I only want you to raise your hand and join the wait list if it feels like something you're called to, if it feels like something that you really want to be a part of, a genuine part of. I'm going to pop the link to the waitlist in the show notes of this episode. Like I say, the doors open on June the 15th, so nothing to do right now apart from just add your name to that list. And June 15th is the new moon. It's actually a supermoon, so it feels like the perfect time for us to gather for our first session where we're going to set our intentions for what we are going to work on, what we're going to focus on, what we're going to really immerse ourselves in over the next couple of weeks. Not over the next month, not over the next year, not over the next decade. We are working cyclically with the moon in a rhythm every 2 weeks. It's something I've done for a long time now, and it's something that I know works. It works incredibly well. I think it's what we're all kind of meant to do. It's the way we're meant to live and work with the moon cycles, with the seasons. My energy is different from summer to autumn to winter to spring. And I think that's true of most people. So if this sounds like something you want to be a part of and you want to find out some more information, go to jillmokes.com/wildway. I'll pop that link in the show notes and you can find out more about it. You can pop your name on the wait list. The cost of the membership is just £22 a month for founding members. So it's incredibly accessible. Really intentional when I decided on that price because I want it to be accessible, because this is a very simple membership. This is not something that's overwhelming and demands too much of you. This is a community where we're going to do the work that matters together in cycles, rhythmically. We're going to get shit done every week from now on. When you join this membership, you have got accountability built in to your month. Twice a month, we meet live. You also get to ask me questions and get the guidance that you need on anything that's not working the way you want it to in your business. You know, it's really the most accessible way to work with me that I've ever offered, actually. But it feels right. It's what my soul's calling me to offer right now. So it is a very simple membership. And so I chose this price of £22 per month to make it really accessible for the women who need this, but also meaningful. So investing even £22 a month, it means that you're going to show up for yourself and for each other. You know, I could offer a free community, absolutely. But there is something about the balance of making it accessible, but also a meaningful amount of money to pay every month that you are going to show up. You're going to commit. So if that sounds like something you have been looking for, if it sounds like it might be the right circle for you to belong to, I'd love you to have a look. jillmokes.com/wildway. And if it really feels like a good fit for you, then pop your name on the wait list. I'm going to be in touch nearer the time with how you can sign up, join the membership, join us for that new moon call on the 15th of June. It will be at 5 p.m. UK time, which is 12 p.m. Eastern time in the US. And I'm so looking forward to it. My wish for all of us that are going to be getting together is that we actually have this kind of intimate container in the beginning, which allows us to really get to know each other, actually act like a circle of women who are doing work that matters and who understand why our work matters. So I hope I will see your name pop up on the list. And in the meantime, have a brilliant week, and I'll see you back here, same time, same place, next week. Bye for now.